This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Hey guys, Maven here. Now, from 2001 through 2005, I had the time of my life as a WWE wrestler. Although I love every moment I spent there, inevitably there does come some consequences. Because for every good, there is going to come some bad. So in this video, I'm going to discuss the 5 worst things that came as a result of being a WWE wrestler. And trust me, the number one thing, it's something I'm still trying to come to grips with and more than likely never will. Number 5, meeting people's expectations. Now, what do I mean by that? The moment you become a wrestler, the moment that you're on TV each and every week, the moment that you have a name, people are gonna want something from you. And I'm not necessarily talking about money, although some people do want money. What I mean is they just want a little piece of you. And trust me, it's tough after you've been on the road for days, maybe weeks at a time, and you get home and someone wants you to go to their wedding, or they want you to speak at their graduation, or they want you to do anything that all you want to do is rest and relax. People, they want to be around, positivity. They want to be around someone that they can brag to their friends. I know so-and-so. I know Maven the wrestler. We were buddies when we were young. I get all that. And what makes it one of the things that is tough to handle is knowing that when you can't meet their expectations, you then become the bad guy. There was a time in 2013 when I had lost a lot. I had lost my job with HSN, I'd lost my house, I'd moved to a new city where I only knew a handful of people. I was working as a bouncer in a nightclub, definitely several steps down from where I was. And to be lack of a better word, it was embarrassing. When someone approached me at that time, I just wasn't at my best. To whoever it was that I left with a bad taste in their mouth, I apologize. Now, I'm not saying if you see me, don't come up to me. Actually, please do come up to me. You make my day way more than you know. Every time someone comes up to me and remembers my in-ring time or what I'm doing right now, it puts a smile on my face, and I'm so thankful. Next on my list, losing your privacy. Once you start attaining a little level of fame, people inevitably, they want to know information about you. They want to know where you live, what kind of car you drive, where you work out, what restaurants you might eat at, and obviously what your phone number is. Where there's a will, there is a way. And if they want to find out bad enough, they're going to. And there's nothing we can do about it nowadays. We can't keep everything scrubbed off the internet. Early in my WWE career, I had an incident happen that proved to me that I had lost all my privacy, and it could have had disastrous results. But first, I need to take a break. Hey Zach, check out that email I sent you earlier. It's right underneath my banking information, next to my birth certificate, right beside my social security card. Obviously, you're not going to be sharing that information willy-nilly, but every time you get online, hackers can get a hold of your personal information and use it for nefarious purposes. And that's why it's smart to invest in a VPN. And by VPN, I mean a virtual private network. And the only one we use here is Surfshark. Surfshark is a browser extension that's extremely easy to use. And it's going to work with most all of your devices, including your smartphone, laptop, computer, and more. Surfshark turns you into an anonymous user so you can browse the internet freely without having to worry about your information being tracked or stolen. On top of privacy, Surfshark gives you access to websites and content that you might not be able to view simply because of where you live. For example, let's say you live here in the United States and you want to use the original WWE network. Obviously you can't. Use Surfshark to change your internet location to Australia and boom, you have the original WWE network back. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Maven, how much is this? I already have so many subscriptions that already drain my wallet month after month. Well, none of those protect you like a nice warm hug. Surfshark will do just that, and it'll do it for $249 a month. And if you use promo code Maven, you're gonna get 3 extra months for free. Now, what you get is unlimited data, speed, and protection on an unlimited number of devices. Now, you also get Surfshark antivirus, securing everything from your webcam to those pictures of you and your family on Christmas morning. Use my link at the top of the description to sign up for Surfshark and protect your online identity today. And a big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Now that you know how to protect your privacy, let me tell you about the time I knew my privacy was gone and gone for good. Let me set the scene here. So I had just broken my leg wrestling Christian, and I was in a cast. It was late at night. I was on the porch with my girlfriend at the time. We were doing what we did every night, enjoying a nice summer's evening. Out of nowhere, a figure dressed in all black walks up onto the porch. I immediately jumped up to shield her, and he put a gun directly to my forehead. You might be thinking, well, maybe this was just an act of randomness. It was not, because he said my name. He immediately told me he wanted money. I had just bought a new car. I offered that to him. He told me he didn't want that. And as he turned to walk away, he said a couple words that would take away every bit of security I had. He pointed the gun at me as he was backing down off the porch, and he said, "Maven, I got you anytime I want you." That echoed in me, and that still gets to me to this day. After that night, I never went to sleep until it was daylight in that house, and I never walked to and from my car without a firearm being on my hip. My life, my safety, the girl I was dating at the time, her life, her safety was in someone else's hands. This is definitely something that would never have happened had I not become a WWE wrestler. The third consequence of being a WWE wrestler is stress. There was never a more stressful time in my life than being on live television week after week. When you're up there in gorilla position and you're getting ready to go out and you go through that curtain, not only do you have thousands of people that you're performing in front of, millions of people at home watching, Vince McMahon in the back with Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe and whatever agent or producer put your match together critiquing you, but you know that you always have to perform at the highest level. And it was also stressful just knowing that other people's livelihoods, other people's health and safety was in my hands as well. I never wanted to go out and hurt anyone in any way. And Gene, I'm sorry about the forearm to the face, although I can make an argument that it makes you look better. It's so stressful knowing that you can hurt somebody and hurt somebody seriously with every move if they're not done properly. Someone's livelihood can be affected, and thus their ability to take care of their family. And another stress that would have never happened had I not been a WWE wrestler, the stress of looking the part. It takes a lot to go on week after week after week in essence, what is your underwear. I remember landing in different cities after long travel days. Maybe a flight was delayed, maybe a flight was canceled and I had to pick up another one, and I might have landed at midnight. You bet your bottom dollar at 1 o'clock I was in the gym. Why? Because it was my job, and also I was going to try to look as good as I could because I didn't want to have the stress of my body changing too much for the negative. There was one occasion where this stress really got to me. So I had a match with Christopher Nowinski, and it was a Monday Night Raw. Now, normally the following week I would have live events starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This week, we had no live events. So our next event was going to be an entire week later for that Monday Night Raw. Having these 3 extra days off during a week, that makes all the difference in the world. We had 6 minutes to go out there, and in my own opinion, I put out a stinker. I was going through the motions. I was probably thinking about an extended vacation, and I was looking forward to a few extra days at home. As soon as I came back through the curtain, who was there to greet me but Vince McMahon? He told me during my break I needed to decide if this was the career that I wanted to be in, because after putting a match like that out there for the public to see, it wasn't something that he was going to stand for. So a vacation that I was looking forward to, something that I was excited to have, turned into about a week of the most stressful situations that you can imagine. Now, I can promise you, when I came back with a changed attitude, and I made sure that even if it was a smaller match on Heat or Velocity, or a match early in Raw, I was going to put forth my best effort. Number 2 on our list is missing out on life events. We miss out on so much stuff because we're on the road constantly. We're traveling almost 290 to 300 days a year, and that was my schedule. I can't even imagine what the top guys, the Cenas, the Rocks, the Austins, the Undertakers, I can't even imagine what their schedule was like. I never became a father, but my heart always went out to the guys that were running out to make a phone call, that were missing these once-in-a-lifetime events. Because when you miss your child's first steps, guess what? They're not going to take that first step over again for you. When you miss a birthday, yeah, they're going to say they don't mind, but deep down, they probably do care. They want you there for all of it. Now, for me personally, the last 3 years of my mother's life, I was on the road for a lot of it. There was a lot of times when she needed to go to doctor's appointments. There was times when she needed to just probably have me around and I wasn't there. Obviously, she would have it no other way. Her son was living his dream, but now with her gone, those are times I'm never going to get back. And my number 1 consequence of being a WWE wrestler, dealing with my daily struggles with pain and my overall outlook on my health. Now, in the John Oliver video, I mentioned that there's a good chance I might not see 65. Trust me, I hope I do. I hope I see way past 65. But the fact of knowing what I did to my body in my early 20s, I know I damaged it. Now when it comes to pain, I said it in previous videos. I'm sitting right now with 3 herniated bulging discs. I could probably go in and have neck surgery next week. Every morning I wake up in pain, and throughout the day, if I'm sitting wrong, if I sit in a position too long, even if I lay in one position too long, I'm gonna feel it the next day. I used to even have to set an alarm for the middle of the night because I was such a sound sleeper, but I didn't want to sleep only on one side. So my alarm would go off and I would switch over just to split up the amount of pressure that's from one side to the other. I remember being backstage and seeing, for lack of a better term, the old timers. Now I use that because I'm one now. But I remember seeing guys and they would be limping around or they would be talking about how much they hurt. And I remember thinking, nah, that's never going to be me. There's no way. How do they not, jump up and just, feel great? How do some guys do it into their 50s, 60s? I'll be perfectly honest with you, I have no clue. I look at a guy like Hulk Hogan who has an entire cage in his back, who's had his entire spine realigned. I don't know how he even gets out of bed in the morning. My spine is bent somewhat, but it's nowhere near that bad. Now, when did I know that my body had been affected forever? It was around 2017. There was a weekend and it came on like a smack in the face. I could not move without being in excruciating pain. I would literally sit on my knees with my head facing straight down. It was the only way I could give myself a little modicum of relief through that entire weekend. And it was only in part thanks to stretching and yoga, thanks DDP, that I was able to learn techniques, learn measures that I could take to where I could live a somewhat normal life. I have to live with the fact that I'm forever going to be in pain, and there's a good chance that I have shortened the span of my life, but wrestling was worth it. Wrestling, as I have said before, it's my one true love. It's the one thing that I was happy to do, sad to see it go, and reminded about each and every day on how great it was, even with all of these consequences. One of the things that caused my pain and negatively affected my life expectancy was my use of steroids while in the WWE. To find out more about that, click above.